Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from where you're watching. Is your girl Nyawira Mwendo and welcome to my channel. Allow me to read a quote by Mr. Nyachoni, an author of Man About Town. Many years of voting where your vote doesn't count is not an easy pill to swallow. It never will be. Something inside you dies. We are hurt, but we'll be fine. With me is one Barack Ogada, who is a political scientist and sociologist, hosting us at the University of Nairobi. And I hope you enjoy the show. Karibu. Thank you so much for creating time to come to my show.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right, it's been more than a month, or at most roughly a month there, from elections to petitions to now the inauguration. And going by 2013 and 2017, we set precedents to the petition of elections. I just want to get your view from your perspective. How was the process generally?
This year's election was just a unique election in the history of this country. In 2017, the Supreme Court Chief Justice David Maraga said that election is not an event, it's a process.
Yes.
The process depends with where someone wants to look at it from. Because when we look at now the legality part of it, we now have a president in office who was elected by the majority of Kenya, who met the minimum threshold of the constitution. But now looking from another angle, where we have a large section of Kenyans who feel like their vote didn't count. But if you look at from their argument is that elections were not free and fair, and they petitioned, and the judges did not render justice. So to them, the process was flawed and did not reflect the free will of the people. But just looking at the whole process, I believe that Kenya has really elevated herself as a model of democracy in Africa. Therefore, I just want to applaud the people of Kenya for conducting themselves in a peaceful manner during the campaigns, during the polling, and after the results. And now we have a new government in office. Kudos to the people of Kenya.
Wow. During the BBI process, so many issues were raised, and two that I wanted us to discuss today. One was ethnic antagonism, and the other one was divisive politics. And I think my question to you is, why do you think politics is divisive?
In political science, we define politics as authoritative allocation of values and resources. And you understand that resources are scarce in the society, not only in Kenya, but all over. So these scarce resources, people scramble for it. Because people who acquire power, they become in charge of these resources and they allocate them authoritatively. The structure of our politics is that the person who becomes the CEO of this country, there's a perception that he will allocate resources according to, number one, to where he comes from, his region, number two, to his close allies. That is the reason why our politics are divisive. You see right now, after elections, how many people have decamped from the opposition to the, let me be specific, from Azimio to Kenya Kwanza. It is not because they believe in Kenya Kwanza ideology. It is because they believe if when they are there, they are going to be at an advantage position to get access to these resources. And now, those people who are left out, they feel like they cannot have access to these resources. Hence, the divisions in the society. Whether that is true or not, we can debate it further maybe some other time. But it's a creation of the politicians in the mind of the voters. You'll hear these politicians speak in rallies saying that msikuingia serikali wakati huu. But in a democratic society, how can everybody else be in the government?
The government,
It's practically impossible.
It's possible.
So politicians create environment to divide citizens along maybe political affiliation or along tribal lines. But the bone of contention here is access to resources.
Wow. Allow me to share a few instances why this topic was so personal to me. I think we've all experienced the memes that have been going on. Whether you like it or not, at some point, as long as you're in a group, some memes will be sent. So it depends on which side you stand, you know. Just the other day, I went to get some flowers and I met this florist and we just have a chat and I request him to deliver for me the flowers. And so on our way home, I don't know how the conversation started about politics, and I could feel his pain. You know, I could see his anger. I could see his emotions when he's speaking about his candidate that has lost. You know, and I could feel his rage because he was not even allowing me to speak. And another instance also was. I'm not so sure if you saw this on social media. There were two gentlemen in a restaurant that they wanted to fight over their own specific candidates, you know. And one goes ahead and tells the other one that, you know, you don't know where I've come from with this candidate, you know, and to the extent of even wanting to kill or to fight this person because of candidate X, you know. And that really caught my attention. And I think my question to you then would be, why are we so invested, and not only financially now to the candidate, but to us, the followers? Why are we so invested emotionally to this candidate?
You know, politics is very interesting, and people invest heavily in politics and in politicians. I can really credit the politicians for creating this atmosphere for their followers. I don't know if you're a good fan of soccer or football. When two teams, rivals, when they go to play, if you understand football, the team will win, draw, or lose.
Okay.
3 possible results.
Yeah.
And at the end of 90 minutes, you will get one of the 3. But you know, in political competitions, choices are only 2: win or lose. Yeah. So if you go in a political contest with I must win mentality, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
If you look at American presidential elections, in 2000, when Al Gore was competing against George W. Bush, they went up to the Supreme Court. One candidate had won majority vote, popular vote. Another candidate had won electoral college votes. The Supreme Court affirmed that George W. Bush was the president. And remember, George W. Bush was coming from opposition then, Republican, because Al Gore was a Democrat candidate who was now who are in the government because Clinton was the outgoing president.
Yes.
Did you hear any skirmishes in America? Did you hear people saying now we have to swear in the people's president and the other people saying now this is the nation president? They understand that the country belongs to all of us. Whoever wins or does not win is neither here nor there. Whoever is in power will serve all citizens equally. Now, come back to our situation.
Yeah.
Apart from 2002, where Uhuru Kenyatta was the KANU candidate and Mwai Kibaki was the NARC coalition candidate, Uhuru Kenyatta, after the election results were declared, he called for a press conference and he conceded defeat. You know what happened in 2007?
Yes.
We cannot debate about
Yes.
that. But from 2013, 2017, and now we are in 2022.
Yeah.
You know, what lacks after elections have been, our results have been declared, is what we call statesmanship from our politicians. Statesmanship requires that if you went in an election and you lost, no matter how painful it is, you remember you have millions of followers behind you.
Exactly.
When you accept the result, the outcome, and you congratulate your followers and your opponent, and tell them that we have a country to build. Now we have one president. Let us rally behind this president and ensure that we have a greater society. That is what lacks. Another thing is from those people who are declared the winners. They don't speak in a manner of accommodating the losers.
Yes.
You find somebody saying that Kenyans have spoken, we are now in power, now we my friend.
Yeah.
Everybody who lives in this country, who is a citizen of this country, whether voted for you or not, he's a Kenyan.
Exactly.
And his voice did not, even though he did not vote for you, you should not rubbish their vote because they did not win.
And I think, just to quote the author, it may never be the same. Something inside you dies, but yes, we are hurt, but we'll be fine. Some people have started moving on, accepting the results. But something I saw the senior counsel Orengo speak in a forum somewhere, and equating the judgment of the chiefs better to the judgment of the Supreme Court. Yet he was there to defend the opposition.
Well, I think it's high time Kenyans stop taking these politicians serious. Because the more you take a politician serious, the higher chances of you getting hurt in the process. You remember in 2017, after David Maraga and his team nullified the presidential results, you remember the acrimonious comments from the president, the then president Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy. The president Uhuru Kenyatta calling the Supreme Court judges wakora, and they were very, very furious, so furious. Even Ruto threatened, saying that you had your day and we are also going to have our day. And even President promised to revisit. Yeah.
I remember.
So this time it was now the opposite. Yeah. Now Ruto, since their families win, is praising the judiciary. But now, because now Raila had lost, now now the Wakora are now the chief's Baraza. Yeah. So now you remember.
Yeah.
So it depends with these politicians. When a ruling goes in their favor, they praise. When it goes against them, then they come up with a manner of names and just to discredit even the characters of the judges who are serving the Supreme Court.
What is the role of the president and his team in ensuring that there is peace and there is unity in the country?
The president is the CEO of this country, and it is incumbent upon him to ensure that Kenya moves on as a united country. There is one thing to win elections, it's another thing to lead a united country. I am afraid that people who are close to him, some of them are not speaking words that can bring people together. But since he's the president, I know he can call his people to order, starting with his deputy. I think the way the deputy president is speaking right now, he does not realize that he's the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. He still thinks that he's maybe a UDA deputy president, or he still thinks that he represents Mathira constituency. He must realize, those people who are close to him must make him realize that he is a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. Yeah. He is the national leader.
Exactly.
But his words must demonstrate that.
Exactly.
Remember, President Ruto got 7.1 million votes. Raila Odinga got 6.9 million votes. And we had more than 8 million voters who never voted.
Exactly. The turnout was low.
In fact, the silent people who didn't vote are the majority. So how do you bring these three groups together and move forward as a united country? Number one, ensure that you form a government that represents the face of this country, where a Luo will feel part of it, even though they did not vote for Ruto, where a Kamba will feel part of it, where a Mijikenda will feel part of it, where a Kalenjin will feel part of it, where a Kikuyus will feel part of it. Every 45 tribes of this country will feel they belong to this government. Another thing, ensure that resources are distributed equally to all regions of this country. Let us not make people come to State House to worship the president for them to receive resources. We want to see the Uhuru project being continued, like roads. We want to see president launching projects across the country. We want to see president visiting all corners of this country. And people who are close to him must allow him to serve Kenyans equally, without discrimination. But if he repeats the mistake that they did in 2013, we are going to have a problem in this country.
To someone who had started moving forward with the results and accepting the new face, the new change of a country, then how again do you channel that positive energy into something good? And again, maybe to answer that, I would ask you strategies that one has to cope with the election blues.
I would just want to encourage those who are behind as a new presidential candidate. The best thing to do in your healing, specifically those who have not started moving on, because I know majority have really moved on. Number one is to accept. The moment you accept that the electoral cycle ended, and right now we have a new government in place.
Yeah.
The earlier you accept that, the better for your healing process. You can only have a president at a time. Number two, start engaging yourself with things that add value to your life. If it's business, do that business of yours with a lot of energy. Look for connections, expand yourself.
Exactly.
Work on yourself. Personal growth. If it's going back to school, go back to school, study so hard so that you can add value to your life. Avoid avenues where you can be psychologically affected. For example, social media platforms. If you know you are not emotionally strong, avoid social media.
Very true.
Because on social media, we have people who are using even fake accounts, and their intention is just to irritate others. That's what they love doing. But those who are strong enough, those who have moved on, congratulations. That's the best thing that you can do to yourself. Remember, after elections, Raila lost for the 5th time. He went out for a few days, holiday with his family. He jetted back yesterday. Very strong, talking tough, breathing fire.
I know.
Therefore, let us understand that we are responsible of our emotional stability, our mental stability. Remember, if our country prospers, we prosper.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And if this country does not prosper, we suffer together. In fact, the best thing that I can advise those who are in Azimio is to go back to the drawing board and start strategizing for 2027. That's what the Democrats did when they lost to Trump in 2016. They went back to the drawing board and they started strategizing how to remove him after 4 years.
Yeah.
They succeeded.
Oh yeah.
So we'll keep on doing the same thing, the same way, losing and complaining and blaming everybody until you end up now messing up the people's lives.
Yeah. That reminds me, like even in family, close knit, myself personally and my dad, we are always on opposite political divide. And if you find us discussing, we're in war, and that's my dad. I want to table out my points and he wants to table out his points. But at the end of the day, this is family, we lay that aside and focus on what is important.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, like what you say, channeling the positive energy on building yourself. Let me just read for you to sum it up. 1 Timothy chapter 2, it says that, first of all then, I urge that all supplications, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings, and all who are in high positions, that we may lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way. I think that sums up, even as us Christians, we're called out to pray and live peacefully with other people, And I think for me that will be my remarks. Maybe you can give us your closing remarks.
My closing remarks to Kenyans and those who are listening to us is that let us embrace democratic values. The things that affect the society most, Christian values can cure that. Even the corruption that we're talking about in this country,
Absolutely.
those values can cure that. The ethnicity that we are having in this country, we need to get our country working. Our economy is doing very bad. We need jobs, and that cannot happen if we continue with this push and pull. Let us come together. Let us support the president and his government, and let us ensure that our society is working for the good of all of us. And I wish him all the best, and I wish Kenyans all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, viewers, for watching. Please remember to subscribe and support your girl Nyawira. God bless you till we meet again. It's bye-bye.
Bye.